Many multi-engined aircraft are provided with a visual indicator, which is called a synchroscope, which indicates the RPM differences between the slave engines and the master. As you can see from this picture, the presentation consists of miniature propellers, which rotate to show when an RPM difference exists and whether the slave is faster or slower than the master. In order to reduce the amount of vibration which can damage aircraft components, and also to reduce noise harmonics which can occur on propeller-driven aircraft, the engine propeller assemblies are often provided with a means of making the RPM of each unit the same as all the others. A synchronization system will reduce the annoying harmonics which can be produced by out-of-sync propellers, and also lower noise levels significantly. Electromagnets in the head of the rotating assemblies of the propeller control units of each engine are used to generate an RPM signal. An aircraft fitted with such a synchronization system will have a designated master engine, and other engines will be specified as slave engines. The signals from the propeller control unit of the master engine and those from the slave engines are sent to a control unit where they are compared. With the synchronizing system engaged, any RPM differences between the master and slave engines will be sensed in the control unit. The control unit generates proportional, positive or negative current outputs which are sent to torque motors. The torque motors are mounted on the slave engine propeller control units in such a way that a signal indicating that the slave engine is running at a lower RPM than the master will cause the slave engine's torque motor to turn in order to fine off its propeller, thus increasing its RPM until no discrepancy exists between the slave and master engine speeds. If, on the other hand, the control unit receives a signal indicating that a slave engine is running faster than the master engine, then it will send a signal to the appropriate torque motor to coarsen off the propeller blades of that slave engine to reduce its RPM, until once again no discrepancy exists between the slave and master engine speeds. So, the torque motor rotation resets the speeder spring on the affected slave engine's propeller control unit, which will ensure that it is once again synchronized with that of the master engine. When no difference in RPM exists between the master and the slave propeller, no output is sent to the slave torque motors. A more significant improvement in noise levels can be obtained by ensuring that adjacent propeller tips are separated by some optimum angle to prevent noisy interaction between them. This interaction is at a maximum when the propeller blade tips are opposite to each other, as is shown here. The synchronization system often also incorporates a synchrophasing feature that allows the operator to phase the propellers. Phasing is a means of adjusting the position of the blades on one propeller in relation to the blades of the one adjacent to it. The ability to phase can allow the operator to move much of the propeller vibration to unoccupied sections of the aircraft, thereby reducing the annoying beat of the propellers and providing additional comfort to the passengers. The systems of some aircraft provide the pilot with a means of manually fine-tuning this angle to obtain the quietest result. The more powerful an aircraft engine becomes, the larger must be its propeller if it's to absorb the torque output of that engine. Unfortunately, if the propeller diameter is increased as a way of increasing the size of the propeller, and the engine rotates at the same speed as it did previously, the propeller blade tips would be moving at sonic or even supersonic speed. This is very inefficient as well as being noisy and potentially damaging to the blades. So, if we have to use a large diameter propeller and yet maintain its RPM to a level that will not allow the tip speed to exceed that of the speed of sound, the propeller drive speed must be reduced to a more suitable level by a reduction gear placed in the driveline between the engine and the propeller shaft, as is this example of a Pratt & Whitney R4360 engine, which is shown as a cutaway. The parallel spur gear type of reduction gear whilst being mechanically simple and relatively cheap to produce, takes up a lot of room at the front of the engine. This is because the axes of the gears are parallel. This system of reduction gear has been utilized mostly on V-type, inline, water-cooled engines, for example the Rolls-Royce Merlin and Griffon engines. The epicyclic reduction gear layout is quite compact and has the advantage of being a concentric layout. All of the gears rotate about the same center line. The gears themselves may be straight cut, beveled, or even helically cut. Helically cut gears are extremely efficient in the way they transfer power, and they are also very smooth and quiet in operation. They do, however, impart a degree of end thrust which has to be contained, usually through the use of thrust bearings. This end or axial thrust is proportional to the torque passing through the shaft of the gear. Axial thrust, as we'll shortly see, can be used to provide a torque indication system in a propeller reduction system. A torque meter can be provided to give the pilot information about the amount of power the aircraft engines are generating during any phase of flight. The instrument may be calibrated in units such as pounds per square inch, pounds-feet, Newton meters, brake horsepower, or any other suitable unit of power. Either electronic or hydraulic torque meter systems can be found in service. An electronic torque meter system, such as the one shown here, utilizes the angular displacement of a driveshaft, which is placed between the engine and the propeller drive. This displacement, being proportional to the transmitted power, is measured electronically, and the signal thus generated is used to drive the needle in the torque meter. This system is inherently lighter and more reliable than the hydraulic system. There are two types of hydraulic torque meter system, one which utilizes the end thrust generated by a helically cut gear, the other employs the torque reaction of a ring gear. They are both used to alter the oil pressure of the torque transmission system, which is then transmitted to the torque meter gauge on the instrument panel. This simplified diagram shows a ring gear system. When the engine is running, the pinions or planet gears are being driven around inside the stationary gear by the central engine crankshaft. The thrust reaction generated by the rotation of the pinions will try to rotate the stationary gear in the opposite direction to that of the pinions. The stationary gear is restrained by being attached to pistons fitted within cylinders that are being supplied by oil pressure, which is generated by a torque meter system pump. One of the pistons in the system partially covers a bleed hole, which, if it's uncovered, will allow oil pressure to be dumped to the engine oil return. While the engine is running, the piston in the cylinder with the bleed orifice will take up a sensitive position where the oil pressure generated by the torque meter pump just balances the thrust being generated on the stationary gear. If the engine torque increases, the piston will be driven, by rotation of the stationary ring gear, to cover more of the bleed hole. This will cause the oil pressure within the cylinders to increase until the piston moves back into the sensitive position, where torque meter oil pressure once again balances engine torque. The increase in oil pressure required to achieve this balance is indicated on the torque meter gauge as a rise in engine output torque. If engine torque decreases, the oil pressure in the cylinders will now exceed the pressure required to balance the torque output of the engine, which is acting on the stationary ring gear. As a consequence, the pistons, which were being maintained in a sensitive position by the balance between the engine torque and oil pressure, will now move to uncover more of the bleed hole. This will cause the oil pressure to decrease until the piston moves back into the sensitive position, where torque meter oil pressure once again balances engine torque. The decrease in oil pressure required to achieve this balance is indicated on the torque meter gauge as a fall in engine output torque. Engine torque is proportional to the horsepower being produced by the engine, and this is transmitted through the propeller reduction gear. The helical gear torque meter system depends upon the axial thrust which is developed when helically cut gears are used to transmit power through the propeller reduction gear. The shafts of the gears rotate within cylinders, and the axial thrust they develop is balanced by oil pressure trapped inside the cylinders. Torque meter oil pressure is transmitted to a gauge in the cockpit. The gauge is calibrated in pounds per square inch. The system oil pressure, which in some systems can have quite a high value, for instance the Proteus engine was capable of developing about 800 pounds of torque, is generated by a torque meter system oil pump. In this system, which is similar to that used on the Rolls-Royce Dart engine, there is an oil pressure bleed hole within each cylinder. When the thrust developed by the helically cut gear is exactly balanced by torque meter oil pressure, the shaft of each helical gear takes up a sensitive position, partially covering the bleed hole. If engine power output increases, the axial thrust being transmitted by each gear also increases, which forces its shaft further into its retaining cylinder. Thus the shaft is forced into a new position where it blocks the bleed hole. The torque meter oil pressure, being unable to escape, now builds up to a new higher value, until it's able to force the gearshaft back into the sensitive position, where once again it's able to balance the axial thrust being developed by the helical gear. If the engine power output decreases, the axial thrust being transmitted by each gear also decreases, which allows its shaft to be displaced slightly out of the retaining cylinder. Thus the shaft is forced into a new position where it uncovers the bleed hole. The torque meter oil pressure now falls to a new, lower value, until the lower axial thrust being developed by the engine is able to overcome it and force the gear shaft back into the sensitive position in the cylinder. Once this has happened, axial thrust is again balanced by oil pressure in the cylinder, but now it's balanced by a lower torque meter value. In addition to giving an indication of engine power output, the torque meter system can also be utilized to send signals to the auto-feather and the water methanol injection systems. The auto-feather system, as its name implies, will automatically feather the propeller of a failed engine. This is particularly important if the failure occurs on takeoff.